and today we got to play Fantasy Realms.
With the Cursed Hoard expansion.
Okay, cool beans. All right, so before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing, and that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. All right, Randy, can you tell us a little bit more about Fantasy Realms?
I can do that. It is a 2017 release. The Cursed Hoard expansion came out in 2021. Board Game Geek rating of 7.6 and a Board Game Geek rank of 258. It's a 2 to 6 player game. The length of game average is 20 minutes, and that's probably about right. Age 14 up. I'm not sure it needs to be 14 years old, but
yeah, there's a lot of verbiage and some cancellation and stuff. So I think you might be able to go a little bit lower if they're really experienced in board games, but I would recommend younger with caution.
Designed by Bruce Glasgow, art is by Octographics, and published by WizKids Games. The Fantasy Realms base game has an MSRP of $19.99. The Cursed Hoard expansion is $14.99. Now, Fantasy Realms base game is out of stock at Card House. It's out of stock at Miniature Market. On Board Game Geek's store, they actually have it available for $19.99 for the MSRP. And it's being sold through the third party on Board Game Geek for $30 to $40. Why I don't understand, because you can get a used copy for $30 or $40 or buy it new from Board Game Geek store for $19.99. Or you can just wait until it's back in stock elsewhere, because it's $16.49 at Card House when it is in stock and $16.99 at Miniature Market when it is in stock. And this one is $12.79 at Card House and it's in stock now. But you have to have the base to play the expansion.
Okay, all right. So then let's talk about quality of pieces. So this really all it is cards, guys. But there is no linen finish. I think as far as thickness, it's okay. It's not great.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty average for that. So I'm probably going to give this a store a 5 because there's nothing really.
Yeah, there's nothing outstanding about the quality, and it is just cards.
Yeah.
And a pad. The pad's nice. I mean, I'll give it a 5.5 because it does come with a nice, thick scoring pad.
5.5 then. All right. So now let's talk about the theme. So the theme is Fantasy Realms. So you're trying to create a deck or a hand that has the most victory points. And with so doing it, the theme is kind of medieval. You've got your wizards, you've got your leaders, which are your kings and things. You've also got weather storms and things like that happen. And so you're trying to build this deck that's appropriate. Be you evil or good, I guess, because there's quite a bit of evil cards. And so that's kind of the theme. I think the art's okay. There's nothing fantastic about the art. I mean, it's decent, but it's nothing eye-catching like you see in Magic cards or things like that.
Pretty generic fantasy.
It is very, yeah. So with the theme, I mean, I'm going to give it a 6 because, I mean, I do like fantasy, but
it's not anything outstanding. This game plays, if you've played Red Rising or watched our review on Red Rising, it plays very similar to that. A little more basic than that one. The expansion does add in curse cards, which give you negative penalties, victory points, or penalties to take actions that will either help you or hurt you. If you get the hurt ones, it actually gives you positive victory points. So, it depends on what cards you get and which ones you want to play. And it also adds 3 more factions to the deck. So art-wise, though, I don't think there's anything really outstanding. I like the looks of some of the cards. I like the curse cards, I think, better than the basic cards.
Correct, I agree with you.
But none of them are outstanding, so I think 6 a fair score.
All right. So now let's talk about the rule book. So it's not a huge book.
No, it's only 8 pages long on each individual book, and the expansion is about half the size of the other one, so it's very small. Very easy to play, especially if you've played Red Rising, because this is so much simpler than Red Rising. It's a quicker, more portable version, if you will, of Red Rising. This came out first, however, so I would say this one, Red Rising, is probably a clone of this, really. So the rules are very simple to understand. There's some variants in here. So actually the rules are only 5 pages long. And then it goes into variants on how to play and some Q&A.
So what would you rate it though?
I'll give it an 8. I would have liked to have seen a little more description for any questions you have on the cards. They have specific questions in here. Like if you happen to have that question, you're good, but they don't really break into explaining anything on the cards. They just say which ones are in which suits.
Okay. All right. So now let's move on to gameplay. So the gameplay is you start the hand with 7 cards. You're going to draw one. You can either draw one from the discard pile, as you can see, or you can draw one randomly for the deck. Now, however, keep in mind that once 10 cards are out in the discard, the game ends. And other than that, you're going to just draw a card. You're going to decide which one you want. Okay, so this one, okay, this one fits my hand, and so I'm going to discard this one. But again, it's already past 10 cards, so the game would have ended. But, you get the point. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Now, there are some things to keep in mind. There are 14 different... There are a lot of suits in this. Okay, so it's really hard to match up some stuff. I felt like maybe it was a little too busy because there was so much, and we didn't... And it's probably better when you go through more people... maybe having some more cards exposed because, but you ended up connecting a lot of your cards.
Yeah, well, I got lucky because I had 2 from the very beginning that connected, and you gave me the 3rd one I needed to make my set.
Oh, because I solely did that on purpose.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so that was like my problem. I was having a hard time connecting, and I would get like half of it because you need typically 3 cards to kind of make a thing going, and I'd get 2 of them, but not the 3rd, and kind of play that. But then I looked and found the card, all the 2 I needed were at the very bottom of the deck, so it was before. So I was like, well, I wasn't ever going to get that one.
But there are cards that will alias other cards, too. I had one that aliased another card. You could treat it as a different card name and a different suit. So if you're looking for a specific combination, you can get it more than one.
Okay, well, I had one that let me change the suit of a card, and that let me help a little bit. But yeah, so it's very similar to Red Rising in that aspect. However, I do think it's a lot simplified version of it. And I don't think I liked it as well. I think, like I said, I had a problem because it was a little too busy. There was too many suits and stuff going on. Because how many suits were there?
There's 11 in the base game, 3 in the expansion, and then the curse cards are added.
Yeah, so I feel like all 14 suits were a lot to handle.
It didn't bother me. I just felt like it was lacking. I mean, I think this would have been a great game if I hadn't played Red Rising already. I think it feels a little light because the other one, you have the card aspect of that, plus you have the other ways of scoring. This one it's basically a one-trick pony. You have one way of scoring. Now, there's different combos you can do, but the actual, the mechanics of it is you're scoring your cards. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But, I mean, it is travel size, which is nice. I mean, Red Rising is a bigger box game.
Correct.
It's not as easy to... You could throw this in a suitcase easily and take it with you somewhere, or purse, or what have you. I mean, this is definitely a portable game. So and it is quick. It's a lot quicker.
It's very, very quick. It felt like 2 seconds later the game was ended, and I was like, dude, I didn't even get a chance to play with my cards anymore.
As far as games that I would like to play, like at a restaurant or something like this, I actually would think this would be a really good one for that. And it's one I'm going to like a lot better than some of the lighter ones that we play. We've played in the past at restaurants. There's more to it than...
Hey, what's wrong with ramen?
That one was horrible.
Hey!
No, I personally think this is a good game to take, if you're going out to a meal and you have enough people, because it's, you could play it with 2 players, but I wouldn't. I think it's fine. I don't think it'd be a good 2-player game. It was good with 3. It's not great. It's good, but it's not as good as Red Rising. And that's, I think, it suffers from the fact that we played Red Rising. Now, if you look at the Board Game Geek scores, this one has a higher Board Game Geek score, maybe because of time passage, because this one's been around since 2017, and it was the first. But I personally think Red Rising is a better game.
I absolutely agree with that sentiment. I do feel like, but we like the more complex games, so then that could be a reason why. Overall, though, what would you score this?
I'm probably going to give this a 7.5. I think the mechanic of it is fine. It is very reminiscent of Red Rising, which is I gave like a 9 or something onto, I think. This one, I just feel like it's missing those pieces that pushed it up to that level. But it's portable, and it does give you that combo feel, the combo action with your cards, which I like, and just trying to strategize. I almost hate that it's 10 cards and done, because it's hard to, especially if you have more players, it's going to be hard to get all your card actions done, because you're going to, 10 cards can fill up real quick if nobody.
Yeah, but I think with more people in it, you'll be trading the center a little bit more, and so you'll get some refresh there.
Possibly, but
I mean, it's possible. It's, whatever. So for me, I probably, what'd you give this, a 7.5?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 6.5. It was a little too big. The whole entire time, I was like, why aren't we playing Red Rising? Why are we playing Red Rising?
Because we've already reviewed Red Rising, and we're trying to do a review for people.
Yes, I understand that, but during the whole time, I was just like, I want to play this other game that I know is so good.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the thing is you got to think this came out in 2017. Red Rising did not exist.
Well, hey, you know what? If I played it then.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think this suffers from the fact that Red Rising came out, and I think it's a better game. Now, this one, obviously a lot of people like it. It is one of the top rated games.
Well, I mean, fair enough. And the mechanism itself is really interesting.
Well, I think that was what was unique about this when it came out, which pushed it up so high, is there wasn't any game that did this.
Yeah. And I think, though, Red Rising did hit it on the nail on the head. So I agree that the mechanic is very interesting. I'm glad they invented it.
It's been outdone now.
It's been outdone now. I mean, and it's okay. I mean, you can appreciate the games of the past, I'm sure. I mean,
well, the past, this is 2017. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. It's not like this is ancient.
Hey, in game world, I mean, how many games have came out since then? So, no, I mean, again, it's still a good game. I mean, for something like you said, travel size and to go, but, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.